Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, November 9th, 2016. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. A trough system affecting this country produced heavy rainfall, flash flooding, landslides, and damage to several homes on mainland St. Vincent and Bequia. The Met Office advised that these conditions will continue to affect the island for most of the day. In this report by Nolisha Miller, she gives us a synopsis of a situational report issued by the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO.
The situational report issued by the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, indicates that the trough system affected many communities nationwide. All schools were closed and civil servants were advised to remain at home due to unsuitable weather conditions. According to the National Emergency Council within NEMO, 2 shelters have been activated with some 50 persons. 38 homes were damaged and a number of roads deemed impassable due to the occurrence of countless landslides. Also affected was the E.T. Joshua Airport, which experienced heavy flooding. The report states that while all district hospitals remain functionable, the sterilization room at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital as well as the main yard were flooded. Meanwhile, several areas were reported to be without power. Cane Hall into Maracor, including Gome, straight up to Yambu and the sections of Peruvian Vale, Cane Hall to Queens Drive and sections of Sign Hill, Dorsetshire Hill, Cumberland and Cane Grove. The National Emergency Management Organization says it continues to coordinate the response to this emergency while the National Emergency Council remains activated. Nolisha Miller, The Evening News.
And Deputy Director of NEMO, Michelle Forbes, said they remain on high alert as they continue to monitor the developments of this system, whilst Braxa has already begun to take action as part of the cleanup process.
So far, we would have had reports of at least 15 homes damaged. We will continue the assess. We will start the assessments this afternoon on the guidance of the Chief Engineer once it is safe for us to go out. Several road blockages across the country. Brax is already working on clearing some of those roads. The E.T. Joshua Airport remains closed. It was severely flooded. The Met Office also has been impacted in terms of their equipment and their operations. So we continue to monitor the situation along with the Met Office through the Barbados Meteorological Office throughout the day. So basically we are activated here at the National Emergency Operations Center. We have subcommittees, members of the subcommittees from the various subcommittees here, assessing the situation, taking reports and prioritizing the actions that needs to be taken once it is safe for the teams to go out.
Forbes noted that the region is still in the hurricane season and asked the public to take extra precautions, particularly in ensuring that drainage is clear.
Year round, we should have a supply of water and other emergency supplies, and persons who live in below banks and on top of banks which do not have proper retaining walls. We want to encourage persons to be vigilant. Persons who, if your drains need cleaning, clean those drains, because we find a lot of the problems that we're having from Tropical Storm Matthew and even now is that many persons' drains around their house are absent, or they are actually filled and they're not cleared. And we're asking persons to clear those drains and ensure that we have around their homes are clean, around their homes are clear, and if they know that they're living in a precarious situation, to monitor carefully. And even prior to that, as preparations for these events starts long before the hurricane season, look at where you build and how you build. And these are the 2 lessons that we are seeing happening from these repeated events: how we build, where we build, and if you know you're building in landslide prone areas, that you need to take certain measures to ensure that your house is safe.
When asked about criticism leveled by the public in relation to the lack of warning of the approaching system, Forbes stated that St. Vincent and the Grenadines receives data from the Met Office in Barbados, which had on this and previous occasions sent the alerts late.
Unfortunately, very sadly, we have had reports of least one person dead in Paget Farm, and one child missing in Camden Park, and one injured. And we want to extend our sympathies to those families who would have lost those two children, because one death is too many for a small country like St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and want to encourage persons. We monitor these situations, yes, but it is something that we have to address in terms of our monitoring and for weather forecast in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and in the Eastern Caribbean, where we have to depend on another office. We're not blaming anyone, but it's definitely unfair and unfortunate when we have to deal with these situations too many times. It is happening too often, and it's time that we really have to basically take the bull by the horn and call this out, because it is not fair for our agencies in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It is not fair for us to not have the information to give to the public because it is not available. Not in this day and age. It's just not acceptable. And once we have that information, we put it out to the public, and we know we work very closely with the Met Office. Once Mr. Jeffers would have had that information, he would have called us anytime. And I'm rest assured if they had that information, they would have passed it to us.
And Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves is urging all Vincentians to make full use of emergency guidelines and take the necessary precautions. The system, which dumped heavy rains and thunderstorms across SVG, has resulted in one confirmed death and another person unaccounted for. There are also reports of damage caused by landslides, overflow rivers, and flooding. Delivering an update earlier today, PM Gonsalves pointed out the need for all essential personnel to be on duty in the event of emergencies, noting that all Vincentians should pay close attention to warning issued by the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO.
From the early hours of this morning, torrential downpour has been occurring across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I want to ask persons, particularly in those areas close to rivers, which are overflowing their banks, where you have landslides, just be very, very careful. Be very, very careful. If we are careful and we take all the necessary precautions, we would save injury and loss of life. We can always rebuild this or that physical structure. But it is important that we remain focused. The airport, it was reported to me at Arnesville, is flooded. But I've spoken to the Commissioner and the Permanent Secretary, Commissioner of Police and the Permanent Secretary for Civil Aviation, and efforts are afoot to address that question. I will keep the nation informed on an ongoing basis.
Noting that all area representatives have been directed to stay within their respective constituencies to offer support, PM Gonsalves noted that work has already begun as it regards to the cleanup process.
I've asked public servants to remain at home. It's very difficult on the road getting into Kingstown and in Kingstown itself, save and except for those public servants who have important functions to perform. I've asked the members of the cabinet to stay in their respective constituencies. Today's cabinet day, but we'll have the cabinet maybe on Friday. So Louis, Deputy Prime Minister, he and I have been in communication, and so too Minister of Works, who has mobilized to do cleanup and to do restorative work, and I'm in touch also with other senior public servants. Naturally, I've been in touch with Michelle Forbes, the acting director of NEMO, and other relevant public servants.
Urging persons to be very careful while attempting to cross down utility poles. Vilnex Communication Officer Tamara Job-Sprott says the company remains committed in ensuring that all customers continue to receive electricity. Outlining some of the damage caused in numerous areas across the country, Job-Sprott highlighted that the areas of Belair, Daphne, Rockies, Paniston and Buckermont, along with parts of Breezy Hill and Dorsetshire Hill, remains without power.
NEMO has said to persons not to venture outside unless it is absolutely necessary, but sometimes persons may see a landslide and they attempted to clear, poles or lines or so on, but we want to advise you not to do so. Always to assume that all poles and lines you see, there is live electricity there. There's a number that you can call to make reports, and that number is 456-1540. As it relates to the Grenadines, we've touched the base with our power stations, and we understand that there are no reports of outages or downed poles or anything. So right now, our immediate challenge is on mainland. Our transmission and distribution team is just about to meet in another few minutes, and we'll make some determinations as to how we proceed as it relates to restoration. But just to encourage persons to remain safe, not to touch down lines or poles, and to let you know that we will work to restore electricity in the areas, but also to make an important note that it must be safe for our employees to venture outside before we make any sort of moves.
Chairman of the Central Water and Sewage Authority, Gard Saunders, is appealing to all Vincentians to remain prepared as they are still within the June-November Atlantic hurricane season. Noting that there will be disruptions in the water supply provided to various areas, Saunders advised the general public to have sufficient water stored for their overall use.
You should be trying to catch up water at home to ensure that your storage is in place, just in case we have to take the supply and do any repairs and cleaning of our intakes due to this trough system. Because we have, we've had a lot of water. Our rivers are very high and turbid. They're overflowing their banks. There's muddy water around. So we just want to alert the public that at some point we may have an interruption in the supply of water. Also, we would like to encourage persons to call our line 45-71445 or our main office line 456-2940 and report any incidents of
burst
damage and burst pipe, because our technical crew is out.
Appealing for persons to refrain from using roads while heavy equipment are being mobilized, Abraxa's communication officer, Roxton Millington, is calling on the general public to be very careful as they travel along roads during and after the passage of weather systems. Highlighting some of the damages caused by a surface trough system which affected SVG earlier today, Millington called on the public to be fully cooperative with workers as they strive to ensure that all roads and drains are cleared.
Is an area where we try to make passable for persons coming out of MESPO. We have at least 2 so far in Belmont, and we're still trying to gather all the information. Yes. There's quite a bit out on the windward side in terms of Sanssouci, Bellevue area. So we're just trying to get all those areas cleared for persons. They can call us at 72956.
72956.
Or you can call myself 530-4680. 530-4680. We have persons stationed at NEMO. So if you call NEMO, we basically have all the information there too. And then we'll mobilize our heavy equipment to clear these areas. Okay. But we're asking the public to work along with us and stay off the road so that we can get to these areas quite easily.
Meanwhile, as the country continues to deal with the aftermath of the passage of the Trough system, which caused severe flooding in many areas across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, some businesses in the Kingston area began their own cleanup operations with the hopes of being back in business as early as tomorrow morning. SVG-TV News team caught up with 2 businessmen who explained the extent of damage to their business suffered and the extent of the cleanup work which they have undertaken.
Come heavy and all of the sun come inside and mess up the flow and wet up a lot of time.
Okay, how long you think you'll take to get it all cleaned up?
Today we go finish clean up.
So by tomorrow you'll be back on the
Yeah, we go finish today. So go order. Everything go finish done today.
What's been cleaning up today?
Since morning we dey clean, but the bridge been break over, the river been break over, yeah, so it been come back. That's second time we clean.
Fall, we would always encounter the problem here to the front of the building. The auto shop doesn't get any water, but the front here, the corner store, because this is my building and that one up so as well, always to the front because of the improper drainage system. I don't know when they would fix it because it's an ongoing problem every time the rain fall heavy like this. I'm really fed up. Calling on the authorities to really do something, and with the business owners here, because I have these 2 buildings here, and we need to get together and let's go and do something. get on the authorities. We're calling on the authorities. They need to do something. You cannot have a little, what do you call it there? The culvert. A little thing to take this amount of water. That's child play. You know? So that's all I have to say, really.
12-year-old Beckway Community High School student Philip Compton of Paget Farm lost his life in the raging of floodwaters in his neighborhood today. According to reports, the youngster was trying to help his father clear a drain next to their house when he was swept down the drainage and suffered a broken neck. And we learned that a decomposed body was retrieved from the area of the Cane Garden Point earlier today. The unidentified male was taken to the mortuary where post-mortem examination will be performed. And one mother of the Camden Park area is holding on to hope that her missing son will be found alive. A 6-year-old Jacqueline May, along with his 10-year-old brother Japhon, were reportedly swept out to sea earlier today through a drainage system just outside their home at the Camden Park industrial site. According to reports, the elder of the two brothers managed to swim ashore. He reportedly sustained a broken foot. A distraught mother, Sharma Batiste, was taken to the hospital after she reportedly fainted on the beachfront where many persons gathered to assist in the search for her missing son. She explained that earlier this morning she sent her sons to the shop, and after returning home soaked, she requested that they go to the back of the house to tidy up. Batiste further explained that it was not too long after that she was alerted by another child that two boys were seen floating in the water nearby. She stated she saw her two sons being swept away in the water and desperately tried to get to them while raising the alarm to other residents for help. Meantime, one resident, Silver Nanton, said from her home she saw the boy in the water as he struggled for his life.
My name is Silver Nanton. So I live down here quite a good years now. I was about 6 to 7 years now I live down here. So then, well, I never seen nothing like this before, but I was inside too. I hear the neighbor calling at this neighbor saying, child washing with coming on the river. Well then, I didn't really much. I wake up my son and telling him not to go, and calling my son and telling him, Dalaman, some child washing, and then he run out, come out, and then he took up the umbrella, and then afterwards he asked me what part, he didn't see them out there, but them wasn't sure, but still at least we come outside, and then, when we come outside, we see one of the poor saying, not a lot of people, and then we see a child was in the water there. Like he going down, coming up, but thought he was playing, and then afterwards now, a man, when we played close attention, a man come with him and say, here's one the child we wash down, and he said, he brother gone and he brother dead. So he said, okay, child, we could catch your brother, but he couldn't catch your brother. But he said, brother gone, he brother die. So then a man come and say, where he is? And we say, look at me, the man came up the road, on the back to meet his mother, and his mother never go with him. Hospital and go with him. And then say foot break and such thing.
The U.S. Embassy of Barbados and the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States hosted a special event last evening for the countdown for the viewing of the U.S. election results. The event was attended by persons from all sectors of society. Also in attendance was Acting Commissioner of Police Renald Hardaway, who expressed gratitude to the U.S. for being a staunch partner in combating crime and training police officers. Director of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs in the U.S. Embassy for Barbados and the OECS, Drew Blakeney, said St. Vincent and the Grenadines shares a strong union of democracy that must be celebrated and will continue.
So this is one of 7, and I'm delighted to be here with friends in St. Vincent. And so we've got people from government, educators, from the business sector, from churches, so a wide variety of folks who are joining us tonight with one shared commitment, and that is their love of democracy. And so these parties tend to be a lot of fun. We get together, we enjoy each other's company, and we watch the election results roll in as we go across the time zones in the United States.
Some of the attendees expressed their opinions about the U.S. election process.
Well, my name is Emmett Pace. I've lived in Beckwith for 31 years, and I'm glad the election is going to be over tonight.
That's all you have to say?
All I have to say.
But you have voted?
Oh, of course.
Gotcha. So who do you think is going to win?
I have no idea.
How do you feel about the U.S. elections? How have things been?
It's exciting to have this come to a final culmination tonight. It's been a long, long road, and I'm excited to have it be over, finally.
So you don't want to tell us, who did you vote for?
I voted for Clinton. I voted for Hillary. I want the first female president, and she's clearly the better choice.
See that you've already voted.
I can't tell you who I voted for, but I did vote.
How do you feel about the election?
Well, to be honest, I was sort of disappointed with the discourse during the election process because hardly any issues came out. There's a lot about personality and all of that. That was my disappointment.